Okay, so here's what I'd like to start with. We're going to create a scenario that Joanne is a new distributor. She is just sponsored. She could have been in for 20 years, but she's reactivating her business. But let's say she's a new distributor. And when a person is a new distributor, they have the intention of going out and talking to somebody. And as we know, the key thing for someone to do is get at least one person in your business or in your business organization within the first couple of weeks, because then you've got something to hold on to. If we wait too long, and as the new person comes along, it's scary, and who am I going to talk to and what am I going to say? So let's use a model, and we'll say that Joanne is a new distributor, and that Joanne wants to introduce what she's doing in Shaklee to somebody else. And so let's start out by saying, with these slides on the screen, the preparation is the host, in this case, is Joanne. So her responsibility, because she's pretty new, her responsibility is to create the invitations. And we'll coach her how to do this. And the people that we would like to first invite her to bring, as she gets started, she'll bring a list of people. Maybe some of them she's chicken to talk to, but let's have a list of people that you'd like to introduce to your project. And some of those are people that are very close to us. And it may be mom, dad, brother, sister-in-law, college roommate, people who are close friends. And there's this thought that I don't want to get them, they're not going to be interested or whatever it is. But Joanne's job is to begin to spread the word about what she's doing. So her job is to create the invitations and to remind the guests to attend on time and to be available, that we'll debrief with them for a couple of days afterwards, just to find out what they heard. And the host, Joanne, will also be coached on how to craft her story, because it's going to be important for her to tell her story. Now, remember, she's a new distributor, and she's obviously had some kind of product results. She has something that inspired her to say, well, maybe I can make a little money or whatever it is. So she has some kind of a project in mind. So we want her to tell her story. And included in that story is why they're embarking on a Shaklee project, where they're going, what their vision is, like, why are they even doing this? And then Joanne's job will be to introduce the presenter, which in this case is me. Now, the good news about this is Joanne doesn't have to do the presentation, because Joanne is new. She doesn't have to do the presentation. Down the road, she'll be doing it for someone else, but she doesn't have to do the invitation. So here's the invitation that she's going to do. And let's say that Joanne's friend, gardening friend, is Erna. And Erna doesn't know anything about Shaklee, but Joanne and Erna talk a lot about gardening, their friends, their neighbors, and Erna's just someone that Joanne enjoys. And so let's say that Joanne wants to invite Erna. And Joanne's invitation to Erna is, I have a favor to ask you, Erna. And first of all, we know Erna, so Erna's not going to turn you down if she asks for a favor. And the favor is, would you be willing to take about 45 minutes? And I'd like for you to meet someone that I'm working with and hear about my new project. You can stay home. It's on Zoom. And Erna, I'm not asking you to do anything. This is not a sales thing. There's no close. We're not asking you to buy anything or to join anything. I just like for you to be my friend and hear what it is that I'm doing, because I kind of like to have a buddy. Would you be willing to do that? So, and also what's going on in the world right now is we're really in new territory with everyone's future. And our world has definitely changed. I'd like for you to know what I'm doing and why. And I'd love to have you as a referral source. So just let anyone else that comes to mind, tell them what it is that I'm doing and send them on their way. And you don't have to do anything. So, and then you can either, Joanne could have either set up a time that she and I are available. So we're doing something on Thursday evening at 7:45, or we're going to do it on Saturday at 3 in the afternoon, or we can say to Verna or say to Erna, you know, can we work out a time? And so we want to get Erna committed to being Joanne's friend. And I appreciate your friendship. Thanks for being willing to support me and my project. Now, back up for just a minute and think about the fact, suppose, since we're talking about gardening, suppose gardening is your hobby and you've started out a project to be a master gardener, to raise all these wonderful flowers and vegetables, and I'm not a gardener, but you are my friend, and you'd like to tell me what it is you're doing about gardening. I don't know anything about gardening, and I may never get involved in gardening, but I want to support you because you're my friend. That's our objective. So the host is Joanne. She's not expected to do the presentation. And what we're going to suggest is that she invite however many people it takes to have 6 people agree to come. And it may end up being 4 people. Now, what I'm going to suggest is don't plan this for like the 17th of August. Plan this in the next 2 or 3 days, because you wait too long and everybody's got a million excuses. But hey, we're doing this tomorrow night, or we're doing it tomorrow afternoon, or we're doing it on Saturday afternoon. Don't wait too long. And your objective is just to, the nice thing, like look on our screen here. We've got 6 faces on the screen. So if you've got a handful of people there, then those handful of people will be able to see each other. So including the presenter, there may be, you know, 6, 8, 10 people there. And the guests would be asked for 45 minutes, 30 minutes of program, but we like to do what I think Lunch and Learn has been so valuable for, and that's just to have a chance to visit with people, share some stories as they're coming into your home, sitting down around your dining room table. You get to introduce each other, and that's what we do in that first 15 minutes. So somebody couldn't get into the Zoom line, you know, they're still going to be okay. So our objective is, so we'll tell them 45 minutes and remind them that when we invite them, that they're being asked as a referral source just because they're friends. Erna's my friend, and I just love for her to know what I'm doing. If they choose to be a customer, join us in our mission, that'd be great, but it's not a requirement, and there's no close, okay?
You know, Carolyn, actually, that's exactly how I helped Pam start, you know, who was the best friend since junior high school.
Wow. Wow.
You know?
1 second, let me just get this door here. Hold on 1 second.
So really, it was pretty much the same. We did the same thing when I started with Pam. You know, she was my friend. I introduced her to Mary Loomis. Mary Loomis actually gave Pam her first business presentation.
Yeah.
And she was the only person in the room. She'd come all the way to Washington, D.C. to do a meeting for me, and I only had one person there.
Yep, that'll happen. And then look at the gold mine that it is, and the wonderful friendship that we've been able to, you know, have for all of us.
I'd say it paid off, Joanne.
What?
Yeah.
I'd say it paid off.
I think it really paid off.
Yeah, I'll say.
We're both $1 million earners in Shaklee.
Exactly. So the invitation is just for a handful of people, and we get to visit for a few minutes, just as we did today, to have a little meet and greet. And during that time, Joanne is going to tell her story, and we'll coach Joanne on why did she start, what's happened with the products, why is she doing this, because we're doing this for Joanne. And Joanne's job is to make sure that the people that she invites come in on time. And she can say, look, Erna, I know I don't have to say this to you, but you're coming as my friend. Can I count on you to be there? Like be there on time? Because I don't want to be embarrassed. I'm inviting my friend Carolyn to do this presentation, and I don't want to be embarrassed. Now, if we know Erna, you know for sure she's going to be there. But make it something special that you're only asking them for that small period of time. And then, so Joanne introduces her friend who's presenting, which in this case is me. And at the end of this, you can ask some questions if you want. We will plan to reconnect just because we like to know what you heard. So thank you very much for being my friend and for supporting me. And I know that you would do the same thing for me. So that's a kind of a setup. Is that helpful, Joanne? Anything else that you guys want to add to that?
No, I think that everything's written out very clearly and duplicatable, which is exactly what we want to do, because duplication is the key to success in our business. So you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. And I'll use Rita as the example as a new person. She would be the perfect person to do something like this. And it starts where you go to the people and it's non-threatening, and you'll see this is the presentation that Carolyn put together that would be shown when you gather your few friends together.
So does everybody kind of understand the setup? The new person does not have to do the presentation, but it's the new person's opportunity to go to a couple of those people you're kind of scared to talk to, but it might just be our close friends. And you don't want to talk to them yourself, but you can say, do me a favor, will you? The same kinds of people that you would do a favor for if they asked you. So that's the setup. So introducing trust. So what we know about trust is that it's pretty much missing. It's what people are looking for right now in this world. And trust is, when you trust the source, everything can have value. When you don't have a trust in the source, it doesn't make any difference what happens. So Joanne has told her story. And so this is her opportunity, and she's introduced me. And what I will do now is I will tell my story. And I'll just tell a little bit about the fact that I backed into my business. I was in that sort of frustrated after college time when it's like, what do you do now? And I was looking at going back to graduate school or whatever. I wasn't sure. And I ended up going home and meeting my parents for a weekend. And my mother was using some environmentally friendly products that didn't pollute. Now, I heard products that don't pollute, and that got my attention because I had lived in the South Pacific, in Polynesia, in the South Pacific Islands when I was with the Peace Corps. And nothing was polluted. And now, after various moves, I ended up in Southern California, where there's air quality alerts for smog and where people don't drink the tap water because it tastes terrible. So I heard it doesn't pollute. And I said to Mom, well, where do you get this stuff? And she said, I don't know, I think it's one of those door-to-door businesses, which didn't set me up very well as a likely scenario. But I tracked on it. And I fortunately was introduced to our wonderful mentors, Mary and Gary Loomis, who happened to live in the Beverly Hills, and whose oldest son, Rob, who we now know as the face of the Loomis organization, had just left for Harvard Law School. So there was something that had a little credibility there. They introduced me to the rest of the product line. I used it and I got results. And then they invited me to look at the earning opportunity. They took me to an event, and the presenter was very unimpressive. It was like, why am I doing this? I mean, I'm a sophisticated college, graduate, and who is this guy? Well, it turned out this guy was making twice as much as I had made when I had worked in Washington, D.C. on the staff of a United States congressman. And this guy was making twice that much money doing these products. And I thought, if that guy can do it, I ought to be able to do half that until I figure out what else I'm going to do. And that's how I backed into the business. And as a result, here we are decades later with wonderful friendships that literally have gone all across the planet and have given us all kinds of wonderful benefits. But one of my biggest benefits for me is the friendships and the opportunity to provide some options for other people. So that's my story. So let's talk a little bit about what Joanne is doing. In January of 2020, there was a very prestigious annual meeting of world leaders in Davos, Switzerland. It's called the World Economic Forum. It's very exclusive. The heads of state and the captains of industry worldwide are there, and invitations are very coveted, and very few people are invited to attend. Well, one of the very few that's invited to attend this very exclusive program is the chairman and CEO of the Shaklee company, which is who I'm now partnering with. And his name is Roger Barnett, and he's a pretty impressive guy. Yale undergraduate, Harvard MBA, Yale Law School, and he's had very successful business ownerships prior to Shaklee. And Shaklee is the company now that Joanne, that I've been with, and that Joanne is now partnering with. And the credibility of what we do is very important to us. So one of the things that Roger reported coming back from Davos was the 3 most pressing global issues that the biggest brains on the planet agreed to. And this is, note the date, early February 2020. This is just before the pandemic blew up. The 3 most pressing global issues: number 1, health, dealing with prevention. Number 2, protecting the planet, because that's what sustains life with water, air, and food. And income, finding ways that people can earn income in the changing economic times, particularly now. So we look at those 3 issues on the left side of this page, and on the right side, the Shaklee company has had a core commitment for the last now almost 65 years, the best of science combined with the best of nature. And look at the 3 issues they've always had a focus on. Number 1, health, replacing sick care with well care. Number 2, the planet. Shaklee was a green company in 1970 before it was even fashionable, and creating income. So since 1956, they've paid out over $9 billion in commissions to independent entrepreneur business owners that are people like all of us. So Shaklee's currently known as the #1 natural nutrition company in North America with a very global presence. But Shaklee's vision, this is where we're going, is to be the #1 global wellness brand and to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for positive contributions to humanity across the globe. That's pretty big thinking. And so that's one of the things that attracts Joanne to this, is to be part of a winner. So let's look at issue number 1 from Davos, is health. The Shaklee solution to this has been a focus on wellness, not on sick care. And they have an over 100-year history of product development with impeccable science that is always grounded in being the best of nature. And as we look at it, the world has changed around us. So our kids are commonly dealing with so many issues like allergies and ADD and gluten intolerance and not great healthy food choices that we now are knowing can lead to lifetime health issues like diabetes and obesity. So this issue of health and prevention and wellness is becoming is a global issue. Let's take a look at what is the Shaklee difference.
At Shaklee, we provide a healthier life for everyone and a better life for anyone. We're driven by science, not fads, to create products that are safe for people and the planet. Products that are proven, not just in the lab, but in the real world. Products products backed by the strongest guarantee. We can make that guarantee because we're obsessive about quality, conducting over 100,000 quality tests annually to ensure our products are safe.
Before we approve any new botanical ingredient, we screen it for up to 350 pesticide residues.
In addition, we screen for many other contaminants, including heavy metals, residual solvents, evidence of irradiation, and microbial contamination.
It's a lot, but that's what it takes to guarantee our products are safe.
And our products are proven by science and millions of people.
In the landmark study of long-term supplement use, researchers from the University of California at Berkeley showed that people who used Shaklee supplements had markedly better health than those who used no supplements at all. For example, the study found the Shaklee supplement users had improved biomarkers related to heart health, cardiovascular health, cognitive health, and biological stress.
In my nearly 40 years at Shaklee, I've seen everyone from elite athletes training for world-class events, like the Daedalus Project athletes, to astronauts pushing their physical limits and boundaries in space. But the most satisfying is working with the generations of families who use and continue to trust Shaklee products because they're safe and because they work.
We're so confident you'll feel the Shaklee difference. We offer a 100% money-back guarantee. It's that simple. Safe, proven, guaranteed. That's the Shaklee difference.
So you may remember when Joanne was telling her story, how important it was for her that anything that she used was really natural and that was based in science and that she knew was pure and that had really high standards. And you can see why the Shaklee company and why that's really been attractive to Joanne and to all of us. So the second issue that came back from the World Economic Forum was protecting the planet, because it's where our kids and grandkids are going to grow up. One of the Shaklee commitments has been making a difference by supporting single families switching from conventional brands, because they believe that the small act of scouring the sink can be part of the giant act of changing the lives of our families and really beginning to use non-toxic products around us. And so that's a part of the changing the world that we're committed to. So Shaklee has a cleaning product line that's called Get Clean. And they were the very first Earth Day, produced the very first Earth Day product in 1970. They're the very first company that was ever certified climate neutral. That's a massive commitment. And they've had partnership with one of the Nobel Prize winners, Wangari Maathai, who was the first winner of the Nobel Peace Prize for the Green Movement, for planting trees. So Shaklee was really green before it was a movement. And, witness working with like Jacques Cousteau and the Calypso. So those are the things that have been important to Joanne, as she mentioned about her story. So the third issue has to do with income. And this was one of the global concerns about how do people support and sustain themselves. Well, the company has paid out over $9 billion to entrepreneurs like us just to tell her story. Working at home now, particularly in the past few months, has become the new norm. And it's really been the model that we've been able to work with for 60 plus years. And at times when so many people are facing so many horrible changes, our business is thriving. And so we think about all the many friends that we have that are hurting. Friends that are in the airline industry, the travel business, friends that have businesses in personal services, salons, personal trainers, massage therapists, those who are involved in hospitality and restaurants, teachers, educators, that are all having just challenging career changes because of what's going on. 7.5% of small businesses are at risk of closing, and 3.7 million people are at risk of unemployment. I mean, they're just, when you talk about Davos talking about the economy and earning money, you can see how timely this really is. So what does Shaklee offer? This is what Joanne is working with. The idea of being an entrepreneur. having a first step being the, side hustle, $1,000 a month at what we call free product level, plus a lot of other additional income benefits. And then there's the idea of building teams who believe in the same things that we do. So one team, you earn your car payment and trip to San Francisco. 2 additional teams begin to qualify for international travel. 3 additional teams really looking at the 4-year career and what it could be like to create monthly income for life or for generations. So there's a massive array of opportunity for financial income. And it's covered, these are the actual numbers of people that actively are earning. So Joanne has looked at this and said, well, there ought to be something like this in here for me. And surely some of my friends, particularly those who have been subjected to so many of these changes, what kind of an opportunity can we offer like this? So, and then in addition, there are some very special incentives just for this year that include an additional $20,000 in cash that can be available for creating the kind of effective entrepreneurial business we're talking about. So Joanne's picture is up here on the left. And so Joanne says she is starting her own business. And her mission is to be part of the solution and not part of the problem with all of these global issues that are going on. She's focusing on how to support her family and those who follow with her, and to educate people on the issues of health and of money and of the environment and so on. So for Joanne, even though it's a part-time venture and one that she's just beginning, she sees it as a career with a purpose. So there are 3 things that we do to make our business grow. Number 1 is we become a raving fan of these products. And you've heard Joanne tell some of her story. We haven't really spoken a lot about that, but that's one of the first things that we do is just become a raving fan. And I can tell you there's virtually nothing in the product line that we can't be proud to represent and that we really enjoy using. The second thing we do is we tell our story, just like we're doing right now. And we tell it to people that we care about. So thank you for being with us tonight. And we invite people to take a look at the earning possibilities because we want you to know what it is we're doing. And we would be honored by your referrals. And I can jokingly say, if you're a really good friend, like I know Erna is, we don't want Erna to come back after Joanne is further into the business and go, Joanne, why didn't you tell me about this? So that's what we're honored to have you with us tonight. So here's what we looked at. Joanne says, whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. And so Joanne has decided to make some choices, and she's choosing. She's choosing to create her own venture. And here's what's behind it, is the magic of word of mouth advertising and social marketing. What we know is that although she's creating her first handful of customers, she knows that many more of our customers are going to come because of people that you know or someone else knows that may be a referral. So it's never going to be people that we only know. And to have real impact, she knows that building teams with leaders who share this commitment and are inspired by the results we can achieve together. So that's what Joanne is doing. The power of word of mouth. It's the most trusted form of advertising. And that's why we're grateful that you agreed to take the time tonight to just be here and take a look. This is an interesting chart that validates that. This is from Nielsen Global Trust on Advertising. And what you'll see up here is what people trust completely or somewhat. 92% they trust recommendations from people they know. And all the other different forms of advertising, TV, magazines, and all the rest of that are less trusted. And remember, that was a big word for us. And that's why it's valuable for us to tell our story. That's why we talk about trust. So as we look at the solutions, we know that there are 2 critical criteria. And you know Joanne well enough to know she's going to ask these questions. Are these products safe? And do these products work? Well, millions of people have chosen the Shaklee company because they trust it. And one of the ways to do it is you can actually prove it. You can actually begin with a combination of products and take a challenge, test them for 30 days. If you don't get positive results, you get your money back. And so it takes care of all the skeptics and all the guesswork. But here's some of the examples of credibility that Joanne is impressed with and that we all are. These are some of the powerful partners, astronauts and NASA. The Shaklee company has been providing a hydration drink for the NASA flights since 1993. 2 Nobel Prize winners, over 100 Olympians with Shaklee Pure Performance team that have earned 146 Olympic medals. So Shaklee as a company would be tied for number 8 in the Olympics if they were a country. Countless satisfied and repeat customers who have reordered literally for decades. So it's the most solid kind of business to build because it's loyal, repeat customers of consumable products that are just reused all the time. It's like the grocery store. You need to keep going back. So here's just one of the examples. Captain Mark Kelly in the NASA flight. That little product over here on the right, right up here, that little product is the vitamin strip that we all get to take. There it is up in the space shuttle. One of the things that he took along with him. And of course, the opportunity to work with Olympians and just have these really powerful combinations of people to work with that actually prove the fact that the products are safe and the products work. No one in the Olympics, no one in NASA would be working with products that don't meet those criteria. And then you add one more Nobel Prize winner. This is the Nobel Prize winner in medicine. And Dr. Blackburn is one of the people that works with the Shaklee company on their scientific advisory board. And here's what she says. The population of people that use these products is healthier than the general population, shown by 2 different clinical studies. So using the products, not just for a few days or weeks, but long-term, really have great results. And this is what we call the landmark health study. I don't know about you, but aren't those the kinds of results that all of us would like to have? To know that we could continue to use the products and have less medication, better numbers, better consistent health, the longer we use the products. So Joanne says her goal is to have a business that's solid financially so that there is a future. And it's really nice to be able to partner with the owner of the company, who's a billionaire family owner in a business that's expanding for all the reasons that we're talking about. But we also want to have strong leadership as mentors, and that's what we have. We have the opportunity to work together as a team, so no one comes into the business alone without support. And so this is just the close. This is from our founder. And in these challenging and changing times, Joanne says we all want to be on the side of history that contributes to solutions. And so what we're doing is adopting this quote from the founder to say that this is what we're doing. And as we said, we're not going to close by saying we want you to buy anything or do anything. We just want you to know what it is we're doing. We hope that you'll be as impressed with the possibilities that Joanne has chosen to work with. And we look forward to having a chance to visit with you after this is over. We told you your time would be respected. So thanks for being here, and we'll reconnect afterwards. So thanks, and Joanne, I'll turn it back to you. Joanne is muted somewhere.
Sorry, I was saying that it's such a beautiful presentation. I learned a lot. It has a great flow to it. It gives all of the right message. And as I said in the beginning, this is how I started my business. So all of you that are new, or all of us that are reinventing ourselves, we just have to repeat the stories. And we just have to ask and invite people to come take a look, because that's what it's all about. And then they'll sort themselves out. It's not trying to convince people about anything. As Linda Causey, a good friend of ours, would say, we have the goose that laid the golden egg. And you look at all of the 3 elements that are the most primary concerns in the world today. We have it, and we've had it for over 60 years. So it's so exciting. And you know what, when we walk our talk, people are attracted to it. I know that in moving to a new home and meeting all new people, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm just walking my talk. They know who I am. I'll put them on my mailing list, or I'll invite them to see something, and they respect me for not trying to sell them. Then, of course, there are those who will want to try it because they want the same.
Go ahead and do it.
Well, this could be either done in a follow-up phone call, or it can be done everything. And I can say, I have an invitation for you. We'd love to have you as a customer. And it's okay if you're not. At least you now know what we're doing. You're welcome to try testing the products. Just ask. If you really like what you hear, we could partner together in spreading the word. Let's reconnect with a call later today or tomorrow to ask what you liked about what you heard and hear your questions or ideas. And then the next slide. Thank you. When we get to talk, I'll have a gift for you for honoring us with attending. So that even though they said there was no close, when you say you're just coming, I still want to. My weakest link in everything that I've ever done is not completing the presentation.
Mm-hmm. No, those are good, Joanne. I just completely forgot them.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a great image that we could put on that penultimate slide of it. It's an open door image. So
that'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some of the things.
Good.
I don't know if you saw this, Pam, this last page that I wrote up. Carolyn had written it up, and I just made it more of a, I'd love to have you as a customer, but if you're not interested, that's cool, It's up to you. I'm just wanting you to know what I'm doing.
Yep, perfect.
Because I did a presentation once, and someone said to me, aren't you going to ask me what I want? Because I was packing my bags and leaving.
Well, it keeps the door open, and it lets them know that you're open to more conversation, and it's not just the end of it. So
yeah, I think that's important. All right, how are we doing on time here? Well, look at that. It's 9 o'clock.
Okay.
We've had a good call. Thank you again, Carolyn.
How about just an invitation to people?
All right, you go ahead.
What if within the next 7 days you set up one of these with your own people? What if you set up one of these? And it's really okay to ask someone else to do it, whether it's another business leader or not. What if you make a commitment to just setting up this and beginning to experiment with the rhythm of what it would be like?
Yeah.
Practice it to each other. Mary Beth, connect with Erna. You talk with her and do the presentation. Get a little comfortable with it. And then talk to her about what list of people you feel you can invite. It's always good to buddy up. It really is. This can be a lonely business if you're not buddying up with someone. And then, if sometimes, believe me, I've had meetings where no one has shown up. Don't take it personally. Just think of the term next. Where's the open doorway, and who wants to come in and join me for this fun business?
And suppose you're doing this with someone who's already a member. Your close to this can be to invite them to go through the member orientation.
Yeah, well, there's the other sheet that again, even in the preparation one, you skipped one page at the end, but that's okay, because that's what's at the last page of the preparation is how you would offer some different items that people could take a look at, which is partnership with Date Your Partners. You could get them a product guide, or you can get them a reference guide. You'll have a little gift for them. So there is one more page also on the other presentation. I did my homework.
I forgot it.
Very good. Where will this be?
Yeah.
Where will the presentation be?
It will be on the OPA where Jen team is housing things. So, but that won't, we're going to just update it a little bit with a couple of items, and it'll probably be there in the next couple of days.
jen.opastuff.org. I'll be here all day tomorrow.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You're
thanks,
welcome.
everybody.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for attending, everybody. Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Good